Destined to Soar, a television news magazine that is dedicated to showcasing businesses, entrepreneurs, and organizations that are making a tremendous difference in our community. I am your host, Angelia Bills, President and CEO of Eagle Productions, LLC, a full-service marketing firm. And joining us today, I would like to present to some and introduce to others a young man who has been in the trenches working in our community for some time. Since last year, he has served as chairman and executive director of the St. Louis Development Corporation after serving nearly 10 years at U.S. Bank as director of Business Impact Group and other managerial roles. He is also the co-founder of a successful nonprofit called Dream Builders for Equity. He has an MBA from Webster University and serves on several local boards. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Neil Richardson.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, yes. I'm excited for you to be here. You have just been doing a lot of great things in our community. And, first of all, I'd like to just congratulate you for your appointment. I know it's been a year, but, you hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's been definitely quite a year, but it's been great foundation setting for the future of SLDC in the city. So I'm excited.
That is great. I just love your energy. And I just wanted to touch on prior to your appointment, because before you even got to SLDC, you were doing great things. Yeah. So you created this organization called Dream Builders for Equity. And if you could just tell us a little bit about that organization.
Yeah, so growing up in North St. Louis City, I've experienced a lot of opportunities that have been missed, and a lot of poverty that has been realized as a result of intentional disinvestment in Black communities specifically. And so understanding that and having the privilege and really the blessings to be able to experience things outside of just my neighborhood, being able to go off to Webster University and get my MBA degree, yes, have a successful career in real estate and community development, I felt a moral obligation to really give back to young Black boys and girls who grew up in a very similar community and environment as myself. Mm-hmm. And so through Dream Builders, me and one of my best friends, Michael Woods, mm-hmm, set out to give them the opportunities that were not provided to us, creating an opportunity for them to grow a network, yes, and also to be exposed into careers around real estate development and entrepreneurship to really lay the foundation for their future long term. And so to date, Dream Builders has served over 100 students, mm-hmm, since 2016. And those students have been definitely empowered, because it's not just about giving them crumbs or giving them a handout. It's about showing them that they're worth something, that their voice matters, and giving them the opportunity to have ownership in their community and neighborhood, because their neighborhoods matter. And so over the last 5 years, those 100 students have made over $500,000 wow, through the sales of those homes, and mm-hmm, also journaling those experiences into a book, which they have ownership of. And so some of them have recently graduated from Rankin Technical College. Mm-hmm. We have a student that is a SUGS scholarship recipient at Webster University. Mm-hmm. And also a current staff member at SLDC.
Wow.
So it's exciting to see, when we meet these students and engage with them, we're not just giving them hope, mm-hmm, but we're giving them true opportunities to create a life in which they can be proud of too.
Yes, and that is awesome. And, in hearing this story, when I first met you, so I met you when you were at Dream Builders for Equity. We were in a meeting. And one of the things that struck me about you was your sincerity. You're so sincere in what you do, so sincere in believing in and helping the community, and that's why I think you are such a blessing to SLDC, because you took that sincerity that you had for Dream Builders for Equity and at U.S. Bank, and now you're pouring it back into the community. Mm-hmm. And I just think that that's a great thing.
Oh,
and and you've been there since June of 2021.
Yes.
And you've already had some great accomplishments. Mm-hmm. So can you kind of speak on those things?
Yeah, so thus far at SLDC, we have rolled out several different initiatives and programs that align with our economic justice action plan. The economic justice action plan is really focused on 3 core pillars: economic empowerment, equitable and inclusive development, and neighborhood transformation. And if we're going to really create opportunities for all St. Louisans to thrive, we must really focus on those who have been most marginalized and really pushed out of our city. Yes. And so over the last 10 years, we lost over 27,000 Black families from the city. And so if we're going to turn the tide, we have to start with those who have been harmed the most. And that's what really justice is about. And so we've been focused on developing economic empowerment centers, providing grants and other opportunities for small businesses to be able to sustain their business today, but also to be able to scale long term. So I'm really excited about some of the progress that we've made to date, but really I'm more proud of the foundation that we begin to set to start having real relationships with people in places that haven't had access before, and now giving them a voice and empowering them, developing the neighborhoods, and also transforming the lived environment is again, what we're excited about for the future. So that's, again, some of our successes to date have been great, again, but I'm really excited about the real transformational change where we're going. Yep.
Yes, and you know, I would be remiss without talking about the Build Back Better grant that you all just received. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you and Mayor Jones are just, you know, you are trailblazers for this community. And when I heard her talking about the need to build up North City, you know, because North City has been abandoned for decades, and for you all to make that conscientious effort, because no one has really looked at North City since the early 90s. You know, so I commemorate you on that. And if you can speak a little bit more about that program. Yeah,
so the Build Back Better grant was a competitive federal grant that over 500 various cities and regions applied for. Wow. St. Louis was selected out of the 20 of those 500 to actually be awarded a $25 million grant. Through that, though, we have focused on the advanced manufacturing industry and being able to provide jobs in biotech, ag tech, and also our geospatial industries. That's exciting. You know, that's really exciting for our community. That's really exciting for our region to see that our lived environment is being built up. However, we have to take it a step further, and I really must commend and shout out my Chief of Staff, Daphne Moore, who played a critical role in ensuring that equity was centered in this application. And that as we are bringing dollars and resources and real estate development to a community who has been historically disinvested, that we are ensuring the people that have been committed to this neighborhood long term ultimately reap the greatest benefit from it. I have a quick story, if you don't mind me sharing. So I lived in Lewis Place neighborhood, and so being able to have Rankin Technical College in my backyard was very important to me. That wasn't always accessible. And so really being able to leverage that experience and understand proximity to opportunity, it's important for us to understand that if we're bringing institutions, that they have to be connected into the community. So really ensuring that Rankin, that the other members that are working on bringing and building the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center in the Vendor and Lewis Place neighborhoods, that they're connected to those people. Because that's where opportunities grow, and that's how we really start to change the tide of our city. And so making sure that we have people as part of the planning process around that site is going to be critical to the future of our city, because we don't want to continue to push poverty across our region.
That's true.
We want to stunt poverty. We want to cut out poverty at its roots, and that requires us to focus on workforce development, on business empowerment, on neighborhood transformation, and ensuring that wealth is being built and retained by our Black residents in these neighborhoods.
Wonderful. I mean, like I say, I can't say enough how proud I am of you guys. I mean, I'm actually tearing up over here because, you know, just as a St. Louis native, you know, and just seeing the trajectory of how, you know, things were going down, and now all of a sudden now you all have a plan to build up the city, you know, as a whole, and not just ignore one half and build another, which was what had been happening for decades, you know. And, you know, and to have new beautiful buildings going up in areas that, you know, for the lack of a better word, were kind of slums.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just excited about that. And I know that you all are doing something with the North City commercial corridors and things like that.
Yeah, so through the latest round of ARPA, SLDC was allocated $37 million to support 11 commercial corridors in North St. Louis City. And again, while that's a great opportunity of bringing resources to a neighborhood, but we also must understand where people are. And as we talk about equity, it's really being able to meet people where they are. And so what we've done at SLDC is just taken a moment to identify consultants and experts that understand grant applications, understand business operations, understand real estate development, and providing that support to these businesses and these residents who are looking maybe for the first time to ever complete an application for a governmental agency, and making sure that they're completing that paperwork properly. They understand the rules that are required for them to receive the funds, but also report on their uses of the funds and make sure that they're successful long term. What we don't want to see is for this money to create greater disparities. And so we want to make sure that when we give resources to our community and to the people, that they know how to use it, that they will feel confident when they're making investments in their business or their employees, and that they will be able to leverage this money to create transformational change, and it won't be a detriment on them long term.
Oh, it sounds like you all have a great plan in place, and I'm just looking forward to the fruition of it, because I know that it's going to change the economic landscape of St. Louis for decades to come. You know, just decades to come. And I guess over the last couple of years, I've been reading about St. Louis placing high with entrepreneurship. Like we're like the #1 or #2 city, depending on where you're reading. So, you know, and I feel like you're a part of this movement. You, Mayor Jones, Daphne Moore, you all are a part of this. And, you know, and I think it's a great thing. And I'm just in your corner cheering, saying, rah, rah, go on.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the event that you all have coming up, the Mayor's Business Luncheon, if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so on September 28th, we'll be holding Mayor Jones' first business luncheon. We're very excited to welcome the business community and to roll out the full economic justice action plan for our residents in our city to see the future that we have planned for our city as it relates to economic development and economic justice. It's also a fun and exciting time for us to be talking about the new SLDC. So St. Louis Development Corporation has been around for 50 plus years, and it has really been focused on bringing forth private investment or stimulating private development. But what we see is a moment in time where we have resources to really empower, develop, and transform the city in a transformational way. And we want to use this moment to really highlight SLDC, welcome the community in, open our doors, and give them the support they need to realize their fullest economic potential. And so we're going to talk more about that at the business luncheon. Rolling out a new strategy.
Got to be there.
Got to be there. A new statement.
Don't miss out.
And vision. So you don't want to miss this moment. Again, this is going to be Mayor Jones' first business luncheon. We're excited to celebrate some of our small minority-owned businesses who have been committed to the city of St. Louis and now of having opportunities to grow and scale. And we want to change the narrative around not just entrepreneurship, but being a small business owner, that the city is here to support you. We have your back, and whatever we can do to help you reach your potential, we're here for you, and we're partners in that journey. So that's what September 28th will be about.
September 28th, 11 a.m. And to get tickets, they need to go online to St. Louis-Missouri.
So it's I got you.
I know,
no
right?
worries. It's ST Louis, Louis, destined-mo.gov/SLDC.
Yes.
And we'll have a link there to be able to purchase tickets and hear more and learn more about the event overall.
Wonderful, wonderful. So intention business owners and anyone who is interested in economic development in the city of St. Louis, join us at the Business Luncheon, September 28th.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for stopping by, Neil.
For sure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you as always.
Okay. And congratulations and keep going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate the support.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome back. Up next, we have the Chief of Staff and Director of Equity and Inclusion for the St. Louis Development Corporation. For over 20 years, she has had experience in urban planning, economic development, government administration, equity and inclusion in diverse cities such as East St. Louis, Delwood, Berkeley, and the city of St. Louis. In addition, she has taught urban planning and public policy courses for over 13 years as an adjunct professor at Harris Stowe State University. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Daphne Moore. How are you, Daphne?
I'm good. Good to be here and good to see you.
Good to see you too. You know, full disclosure, I think we've known each other most of those 20 years.
Yes,
so,
we have.
Yeah, so just, you know, congratulations on everything that
Thank you.
have done. I mean, I remember when you were a young professional coming through the doors for the meetings, and you were getting us together then.
Always been a little bossy.
you know. Well, if you know what to do, it's always good to be a little bossy, you know. So you were giving us direction back in the day, and now here you are, the Chief of Staff for SLDC.
Yes.
So, you know, well-deserved title, and you have done so much in the community over the years in urban planning. So I'm just going to let you just go and speak about all of your experiences before we go into the city.
Okay, so I started off as an urban planner with the city of St. Louis way back when, and worked on projects like North Sarah and Arlington Grove, and then ended up working in the city of Berkeley for a little while as the economic development director. And then I moved to help the city of Delwood rebuild after the Ferguson fires, which were really the Delwood fires because most of Delwood got destroyed. And so helped them rebuild, and then moved to my hometown of East St. Louis and helped them to start on a journey of revitalizing East St. Louis and making sure they were stable, paving roads and streets, and doing more community work. My community is my passion, as you know, and I love working in community and helping people. So then I ended up as a Chief Opportunity Zone Officer with the St. Louis Development Corporation through the Rockefeller Foundation. And then somehow I ended up being the Chief of Staff for Neil. So it's been a long journey, but I enjoy living and being in St. Louis and trying to improve where we can.
Yes, and you're so humble and modest because you said somehow it could have been all of this experience that you have garnered over the years that have landed you into this position. I mean, working in Ferguson and Delwood area, that was a huge undertaking, you know, and a lot of people don't know that it was Delwood that got most of the impact of what happened over there.
You know, I'm always honored to serve, so I'm always try to be humble about the work because it is a lot of work, but the people of Delwood really encouraged me to do everything I could. When they said they wanted the building tore down, I tried to get the building tore down. When they wanted the streets paved, we worked to do that. And so for me, I take pride in making sure the work actually gets done. And I'm an implementer. Sometimes you may not see me in the front, but I'm just trying to make sure that the community sees the work and sees change. So
yes, you're definitely like an executor. Execution is definitely your strong suit. So, you know, and I think that's why you are such a good addition to SLDC. You know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, I know all those plans. You're going to make sure
it's going to get done.
We're going to get them done. So as we cross over into SLDC, Tell us about some of the national initiatives that you all are working on.
Well, we are currently a part of the International Economic Development Council, which we call IEDC cohort. We're the first equity communities cohort, and they selected 5 cities, and St. Louis was one of them. And so it's a year-long process where we work on how do we create best practices and make community more equitable. So of course we're working on North St. Louis, and so we are hoping to have a full plan by the end of the year and introduce it to the community in February.
Oh, wow. And you said this is international, so what are the other 4 cities that are in there?
You know, the other 4 cities I think are Maryland, New Mexico, and I'm going to forget the other 2, but so that Dayton, Ohio is one, and I can't think of the other one, but we're spread out across the United States.
That is awesome. And so you are directing that initiative for SLDC, correct?
I am, along with Stacy Fowler and Maisa Whitlock. We are working to advance. Lance Knuckles has played a role as well, and it's been an interesting process. They came here, so we will be introducing a report next month about some of the findings that they have, and then we'll do a final report next year.
That is awesome. And so you all are doing lots of reports and lots of building. How do you keep track of it all?
You know, sometimes it's hard to keep track of, but I think we just try to stay focused on making sure that the community has good information and know what other people see, right? Sometimes you don't see it when you're in the community, and sometimes it takes the outside to say, maybe you need to shift a little bit here. So we're just trying to make sure the opportunities well, and they also help us apply for grant opportunities on the federal level. So
right, which has been going very well.
It has. I mean, Build Back Better. We also have the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. They've actually done a lot. They just gave us $1 million for brownfields. So we're excited about the work. And a lot of times people say, you're doing so many plans and reports. Well, they help us to get that type of funding. And St. Louis really is that city that the federal government and other national organizations like MasterCard and Accelerated for America, who we work with, are paying attention to us. And that's because we do those reports and we do good work.
Yes, you do. And, you know, and it reminds me of a time, and I know I'm going to date myself in this, but I used to work for the city of St. Louis at Lambert Airport. And this was the late 90s up to like the early 2000s. And I remember us doing tons of reports and, you know, W1W, regular decision, all of these things. But when I drive past the airport now and I see the, you know, I see the tunnel and I see the East Terminal, which I think they call it Terminal 2 now. You know, those reports really do matter because in the end, you'll see the results.
Yes, and a lot of people want data. They want to say, well, where's your report? How do you know that this is actually taking place? And
did you do the research?
Did you do the research? So we have information that we can use for grants and to make sure if we're applying for philanthropy dollars that we can really tell the story of what's going on in St. Louis.
That is true. And as we speak about the outcomes, what are some of the outcomes, things that you're planning now? What are going to be some of the outcomes of the plans that you are working on now?
You know, I think one of the key things, we are trying to build housing in North St. Louis. So one of those outcomes is to try to build, you know, between now and over the next 10 years, over 1,000 houses. You know, we want more, but trying to be realistic about what can be done, making sure that our infrastructure is improved, and we are working to make North St. Louis a smart city. So those are some of the outcomes that we want, and we want to create more opportunity for Black people who have been marginalized in community, and to make sure that people can age in place. So, you know, and which is a big task. And so our goal is to make sure that people don't feel like North St. Louis has been forgotten. And a lot of our work will be geared over there. And of course, we're working to look at Dutchtown and other areas that have historically not had the advantages of other areas and neighborhoods. So we're trying to make sure every neighborhood is competitive.
Some development going on.
Yes.
Okay. And something you touched on I want to talk about is the smart cities.
Yes.
Kind of elaborate. I know what it is, but elaborate on how you see this vision.
We envision smart cities looking at our infrastructure and using technology to make things better, to look at how we can use technology to reduce crime, for transportation purposes, and hopefully in the upcoming weeks, we're going to go after some federal transportation dollars to look at how we can create the infrastructure to develop that smart city and a strategic smart city plan for the entire city.
Yes, and will that also incorporate energy, like solar energy?
It definitely will incorporate solar energy. Most of the developments we are looking at, we are definitely trying to see how we can be more efficient, how we can do more infrastructure to bring in more Wi-Fi for areas that normally don't have it. So putting that infrastructure in, making sure even we can fill some potholes, turn the lights on in certain areas, clean up alleyways, so that technology can tell you where a light is out, or what areas should be focused on, or cameras can be there and say, hey, there's something going on at this intersection, and so you immediately in real time have that information. So we're really trying to bring technology into North St. Louis and throughout the city.
I am excited. You guys are so smart over there. I just have fun asking questions because I know you all have the answers to them. So
we try to have the answers.
Yes. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about too was, and you touched on it with the Black businesses. What opportunities do the SLDC have to help minority businesses get these opportunities?
Sure. One of the things that has happened over the last few years is really we're trying to make sure that our small minority women-owned businesses, one, are educated about what type of contracts that they can apply for. We have a plan room that is open where people can bid. We try to have training where we teach people how to bid on contracts. When we're giving incentives, we make sure that there's minority participation on those contracts, and it's not optional anymore that you have minority participation on your contracts over $1 million. So we're trying to really make sure that inclusion is just not a buzzword, but that small minority and women-owned businesses are being included in the process and actually getting those contracts, because that is important. And we also try to work to get small businesses certified so that they can compete on some of those city bids, and even work to get that next certification, which is the state and federal. So normally they want you to be certified in certain areas. So just teaching people what it takes to go after some big contracts.
Okay, so how do minority businesses contact you to get involved in these programs? Well,
the person to contact is Stacy Fowler, which her email is fowlers@stlouismo-gov. So that's the best person to call, because she's the director, and she's the person that is leading the charge and doing an excellent job in making sure that people are held accountable.
That is awesome. That's great news. And I just like to thank you for stopping by, because I know that you all are very busy. You're working on the mayor's luncheon and all these other things we just talked about. So thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yes, taking the time, and congratulations on all that you are doing.
Thank you.
You all are just the best and brightest of the city. And I really honor you all. I admire you, because you all have worked hard. You have been diligent in the field for 2 decades.
Yeah.
So, and the results show. So your work really does speak for you, Daphne. And
I appreciate it. And that's what I wanted to do. I don't, like I said, I don't like to talk about myself too much, but I do want my work to speak for itself. And I just want to make sure citizens know that they have a champion, and someone is championing to make sure the work is getting done, and that they actually see some real results.
Okay, well, I'm excited about all that you all are doing, and I just know that I may have to have you back so we can talk about more exciting things that you all have going on. Okay, it's a date. So thank you so much for stopping me in once again.
Thank you.